Hi guys, Surprise here, your local pothead expanding our universe, back with another video. Yes sir, we are on a roll. Sijui kama nilisema these exact words in the previous video, but yeah, we are on a roll and I really love it. Like na pia ninapenda the fact that the previous video yenye nilipost, like I think it was on Saturday. It was on Saturday. Iyo venye imemove. Napenda the engagement, like yeah, inamaanisha kuna mtu ananisikiza. Na inamaanisha maybe ninasema ukweli kwa sababu kuna watu wengine walikuwa wamejump tu sana. But pia, not to be misquoted, I don't mean to be misquoted. So, yeah. That's really validating. And I feel like that's a topic that I wanted to like talk about for a long time. And I finally did, hata nimesema kwa hiyo video wa. Anyway, yeah, and on today's video, I'm going to talk about something that I've also been meaning to talk about, but I haven't had the right words for it for a very long time, up until like, I think too, the more una sit on something, the more unaendelea kupata ufunuo about it. And then, yeah, you reach a deeper level of understanding, overstanding. Yeah, so on today's video, I'm going to be talking about family dysfunction. What else? Wait, family dysfunction, breaking generational cycles, and healing. Let's get into it. It ran in my family up until it ran into me, So I feel like the wildest part about growing up, like finally being a young adult or an adult, is realizing that wale watu wenye walikuwa adults wakiwa mtoto hawakuwa, they don't even have it figured out yet. Like nobody has it figured out. Sisi wote ni kama it's always trial and error. Life, it's a game. Yeah. And that's the wildest part about realizing that, because pia sasa una realize kumbe vitu kama maturity haimaanishi age. You realize such things. You realize that maybe they were putting on a facade, they were putting on, like, it was all an illusion. They're just putting up a facade to save face. Like maybe they're just consumed by shame. Unajua, like, you get to realize a lot of things that you wouldn't have understood as a child when you grow up. And I feel like our environments shape, I'll say this a lot, because we're talking about like expanding our universe. You have to like start from where it all began and come all the way. So our environments as we grow up shape us a lot. Like, our environments shape us a lot. Kila kitu yenye ilikuwa inafanyika around you imekufanya ukakuwa wewe, imekufanya ukajua, like imekufanya uka have the beliefs that you have, imekufanya uka have the like ambitions that you have. Your thoughts have been carved in a way that was in sync with like your environment, and once you grow up and you start realizing the misalignments in your thoughts maybe, and in your belief systems, you start questioning where it all came from. And most of the time imetoka wapi? Kwa your environment, the people who are around you, the people who you looked up to, the people who you admired, the people who hata wenye huku una admire but walikuwa around you sana na walikuwa na interact na wewe sana. There's some beliefs that your interaction with them grew from. Hiyo nimejumble up your sentence, but I feel like I should have already said, nilikuwa nimepanga kusema kidogo tu nilikuwa nimepanga kusema before like nianze kuongea, that will be here for a while, because I feel like this is a lot. So please buckle up. But yeah, na sasa nimesahau chenye nilikuwa ninasema. When you're growing up, you are observing and mimicking the people around you. You are observing and mimicking your environment. And ndio maana pia exposure ni muhimu. But sasa kama let's say uliishi kama uko sheltered, definitely most of your belief systems have been built from the people who have been around you, and the kind of true environment yenye imekuwa. I feel like I've already that point has been put across clearly. So when you get to like young adulthood, ama pia tuseme to adulthood, but young adulthood, you realize that you start mimicking the same things that you don't pick it up quite fast, cause hiyo ndo normal. Up until now umekuwa exposed na ukaanza kuona like ukaanza kuinteract na other people other than your family members or your neighborhood. You get to interact with new people who have been raised differently. Ni kama tu venye tukiwa shule, you get to meet different people and you get to observe different behavior from them. Hivyo ndo najaribu kumaanisha your environment shapes you. Ndio maana mlikuanga shule, mko in the same class, mnafanya the same things, but none of you are the same because you have all been raised differently. So once you get to young adulthood, I feel like easy patterns na easy behaviors na easy thought processes, you know, zinaanza kujirudia kwa sababu sasa you are living life. I feel like when you get to adulthood, hapo sasa ndio umeanza kuishi maisha, because before you were just being molded into living life. Ndio maana unaenda shule, unaambiwa nini ndio uweze kukua an upstanding citizen. So when you get to adulthood, you are literally mirroring and mimicking what you saw growing up, whether you pick it up instantly or not. And that is where awareness comes in. You need to be very aware of the patterns as early as possible. Ndo siku unafika like 40 na bado haujui mbona una behaving a certain way. I feel like I have jumped the gun there, but you will get it. So you start mimicking that behavior. You start realizing that kumbe siku kwa like kumbe hivi ndo huwa nina act about money, or kumbe hivi ndo huwa nina act towards love. This is how I receive affection, or this is how I think your 20s are just crazy. That's the time you start realizing those things, because now you are outside. You have now been set out into the world to live. That's when you start to apply things like critical thinking, decision making. You have now to learn how to like maintain the kind of relationships you feel like you need around you. And to maintain such kinds of relationships, hautazifanya like, you will obviously move towards the direction of the kind of relationships you saw growing up. You will move towards the direction of the kind of relationship people had with money. Let's say you grew up in a house yenye ulikuwa unashinda umeambiwa, wewe siku unaulizia vitu sana, si unajua hatuna pesa. You'll grow up knowing that you shouldn't be asking for a lot because there's never enough. Getting the drift? Yes. So hapo ndio unafaa kupause, uanze hapo ndio disconnect inaingililia, kwa sababu you hadn't realized this was not the normal way. That is what you thought was normal because that was everything that was like around you. But once you start interacting with other people, and once you start living your life on your own and making decisions on your own, using your critical thinking, you will pick up certain aspects about yourself zenye unajua si like ideal for the kind of life you want to live. That is what dysfunction, I feel like, that is what dysfunction looks like, basically. When you're repeating like things zenye zimekuwa zikifanyika for a long time but nobody is talking about them. When you're like repeating patterns without even realizing you're repeating the patterns, and they are not like patterns zenye zinaleta vitu expansion. Ni patterns za kukushame, za kukuguilt trip, you know, and all that. So acha nisome something. When I talk about dysfunction, I'm not just talking about the loud chaos or the shouting or the like silent treatments, nini. I'm talking about like the normal things that are unhealthy. Like kuna hii kitu yenye nyi wote mnajua, hii kitu huwa inafanyika, but nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to ignore and act like that doesn't happen. And you all know it's unhealthy, and it keeps repeating itself no matter how much it is being suppressed. That is what dysfunction looks like to me, and I feel like that is what dysfunction is anyway. It's when like love starts to feel like control. Okay, let me give an example of like people who grow up in very sheltered homes. Let's say your mom is so afraid of you going outside into the world because she got you at a very young age. Let's say alikupata in like her early 20s or her late teenagehood, so ako so afraid that that would repeat itself, so heri ya kushelter na kufungie without teaching you what freedom looks like. Then when you get that freedom, it doesn't even really help you, like inakushtua, it's not something that you're used to, so you would tend to like self-sabotage with it and all. Yeah. Dysfunction isn't always like dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, and it's in the stories we are told as kids, the ones that shape how we deal with conflict, affection, or even success. It's when the coping mechanisms like turn into family traditions. Let's say I'd love to give another example. Let's say I'm not really talking about somebody specific, but let's say you are somebody who grew up knowing your grandma is your mom, yet your aunt is your mom. Like kila mtu alikuwa anasema aunti yako, hata ona anasema aunti yako, kila mtu alikuwa anasema mama yako ni aunti yako kwa sababu mna share parent, kwa sababu let's say mama yako alikupata at an early age and then they felt shameful about it, so they decided kuficha the whole thing, and all of a sudden there's a kid na ni wa grandma, not the mom. I feel like that would distort the kind of relationship you have with your mom anyway, si ndio? Ama kupigiwa story kama your grandfather died because of like ati poisoning kwa sababu alikuwa na cheo church, kumbe alikufa juu ya liver cirrhosis because alikuwa na alcoholism, because nobody wants to talk about the fact that alcoholism is a problem, so everyone is sweeping it under the rug and acting like it's not a problem yet, and turning it into things that we all know we should suppress. Hata kama unaipitia, now you don't even have a channel to like communicate that, because now nobody is talking about it. If anything, we are all perfect, we are all putting up illusions and facades that we are all okay, yet tunapitia the same things zenye watu walipitia through the generations in our families, yet we don't want to deal with them. Correct. I would add like, yeah, you start realizing that what you thought was normal might actually what you thought was normal might actually have cropped up from survival. Like we don't judge the kind of decisions they made, like the chaos and all the decisions that brought the chaos, because at that point that is what they knew, sindio? Sawa. But sasa the moment nyinyi wengine mna find out that is not the way to go, mbona mnaendelea? Kwani nobody is in awareness? That's where the problem begins. We're not judging the people who came before us for the decisions they made, kwa sababu that is what they knew then. But if you know better and you are in awareness of it, I feel like you should be making a conscious effort to not repeat the same cycle. Yeah, which brings in generational cycles. Yeah. So, kwa generational cycles, generational cycles are the repeated emotional patterns, beliefs, and coping mechanisms that get passed down through families, sometimes even without saying a word. Ndio maana nimesema some of these things, nobody ever speaks about them. Everybody acts as though they don't exist, but unapata inajirepeat, whether you speak about it or not. Emotional patterns, beliefs, and coping mechanisms. Okay? Yeah. So you might see it in how people handle love, money, anger, spirituality, how people live their life. Unajua, like how people walk this life. You will see it in how, maybe like you grew up in a family that, say your mom was the provider, she was hyper independent, and your dad was absent. You will grow up to be, especially if you're a lady, you'll grow up to be hyper independent, and you won't even know how to ask for help, kwa sababu sasa ushazoea kuona hiyo from your mom, right? But once you pick that up, you need to know that that is not like the only way that it is supposed to be. Like maybe you can just be soft. Maybe you can just be like, yeah, the soft girl who doesn't have to handle everything, and actually you can just leave it to the universe, maybe, you know? Yes. Yeah, it's wild how most of us don't realize we are replaying the same script. if you are somebody who self-reflects, you need to be able to realize when you're repeating the script, and once you catch it, you need to be able to like find ways to deal with it. Because how to deal with it at now since I'm in awareness and I know it, I repeat. No, it will repeat, because that is what your nervous system has been accustomed to. That is what like your whole being knows that to be true. That is what it's even going to magnetize towards you. Ndio maana hata wao wanasema you don't manifest what you want, you manifest who you are. Because maybe haujahili hizo wounds na unataka this other life, but you're not like putting in the conscious effort to achieve the kind of unaget. So haitakuja hivyo vile unataka, itakuja vile uko. You'll end up attracting the same kind of people who you don't want to attract. You'll end up attracting the same kind of opportunities which you don't want to attract. Maybe because you felt shame in like, I don't know, when ndo unajijua best. Yeah, so generational cycles can be like emotional, maybe the fear of vulnerability, the fear of being seen, the fear of being heard, kwa sababu umegrow up mahali penye you had to shrink yourself a lot, so una grow kukua, you go back into yourself a lot rather than how you unatoka nje. And I feel like watu wenye wao wana go back into themselves a lot, they're just very emotional people. Yeah. It can be like in your behavior. Maybe you're an avoidant. Why are you an avoidant? Maybe you're used to people letting you down, so you'd just rather do it on your own. Things like that. And relational. Sasa vile una relate to people, vile una relate to different things in your life, your job, I don't know, everything. So sometimes the biggest rebellion is choosing peace in a family used to chaos. Yeah. So maybe you should be the one to like change things when like you realize watu wanaziona but wanajifanya hawazioni, ama wanataka tujifanye sisi wote hatuzioni. Cause insanity is doing the same thing the same way over and over again and expecting a different result. Don't be insane. Don't choose to be insane. Okay? Like I feel like kwanza sahi tuko na so many resources around us. Use the resources around you to know yourself, to learn about yourself. Use the resources around you. Me, to know yourself. I offer birth chart readings. I'll put the link up at juu. Then you can just book a session. You'll go through like the services I provide, check which one is the best for you. Yeah, hata leo pia nita attach your something yenye inaonyesha what is a birth chart and why maybe you need a birth chart reading here for the people who didn't get to see it in the previous video. Yes, for you to get to know yourself and know why you do the things you do and how maybe you could now not do those things and adapt better, healthier ways. Na ukisha wewe do you know it only takes you for your whole like generation plus the others to heal. Like ukihil hiyo kitu moja ina echo into infinity. Mnaonanga kwa Avatar the last airbender, when he gets into his avatar state, even the avatars before nini zao wazi na waka wherever they are. That is what I mean. When you heal, wewe, even the people who came before you receive that nini. Ina echo into infinity. And even the people who will come after you, wata learn through you. So ni wewe ndo utakuwa umevunja your generational cycle. Okay? Yeah, I think I'm done. Hata it's not as long as I thought it would be. I thought we'd be here for like hours. Nilikuwa nina feel so passionate about it when it came to my mind. Yeah. I would say the moment you catch that you are in an illusion, don't choose to stay in that illusion. You're only hurting yourself more. The moment una realize, this is not the way I want to go, stop choosing to. It will ni kama kupanda train. That analogy that is usually used. You find out you are on the wrong train. It's going in the wrong direction. Will you wait for you to reach the final destination of that train ndo ushuke ama utashuka the nearest station ndio uanze kurudi. The bus fare will be much more expensive, or the train fare will be much more expensive when you decide to actually get to that destination. Yet umeona haiwork, you've seen it through the people around you. Hao watu wenye walikuwa wanakuinspire ukiwa mtoto, your folks, your guardians, your relatives, wote. And yeah, you've seen it, you know when you walk a certain path, there's actually proof that when you walk a certain path, this and this might happen. Sijasema like it's always ati maisha ya mtu mwingine inafaa kwa blueprint for you. Nasema you need to learn, you need to be in awareness. You don't need to walk a path to know ati kuna shimo yetu umesikia watu wanaanguka kwa hiyo shimo. Maybe wewe ndo unafaa kuonyesha watu tunafaa kwenda. By the way, acheni kwenda kuanguka kwa hiyo shimo, twendeni hivi. If it's safer this way. Alright. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow us on our social media handles at _yourlocal.pothead and at _nyagoha, both on Instagram. Hizo zingine nitaziweka at the end of the video. Go live the biggest life you can ever conjure up in your mind. Go be great. Your local pothead out.